Wow, look at that duochrome shift from green to purple and then back to green again. This is pretty unique. Well, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This month I am doing a giveaway for the Norvina Volume 3. One winner is completely randomly chosen at the end of the month. So if you weren't selected last month, don't panic, because there's always a chance at the end of each month. As long as you're subscribed, you're automatically entered each month. All right, moving on. So I got a lot of makeup this month and I don't even know where to begin as far as reviewing them for you. I got a bunch of holiday palettes. I got the Alexis Stone palette, the Madonna palette that I reviewed for you, the Stila palette, and Hourglass. I got the blush and the highlighter. I think I'm going to put one of the blushes for the giveaway. Now, as far as all these holiday palettes, I want to give you guys a ranking as far as what's best, but the one that interested me the most was probably the PAT MCRATH Astral Blitz palette in the blue. That and the Norvina palettes that came out were so far the most pigmented palettes that I've come across this holiday season. So today I want to compare this PAT McGrath Astral Blitz with the Stila palette, the blue round palette that came out this year. Now, side by side, you'll notice that the PAT McGrath palette is a lot more colorful, and you're paying $65 for the PAT McGrath palette, whereas for the Stila palette, you're only paying $30 for 6 shades. So definitely getting your money's worth here with the Stila if you're really looking for those purple shimmery shades or those blue shimmery shades, and you know, that white duochrome up there. Now the blue is actually very interesting. It's got a really nice metallic sheen to it, and it does feel like velvet on the skin, and also I really enjoyed this pinky sort of mauve color, and as well as it has a few mattes in there, so you get a mix of shimmers and mattes. And definitely you can create a unique eye look with this. Same with the PAT McGrath, it's a unique eye look, but look at this white. It's almost like got a nice white duochrome to it. And also the gold has a very nice reflective edge to it. So I think if you're, if you want to save money and you want just a nice holiday palette that can give you, some nice shimmery looks, the Stila palette might be worth considering over the PAT McGrath. Now I know those colors are not dupable, but look at how blendable these colors are at the with a Stila palette. So it's definitely something to consider, because blendability is definitely there, and the colors are definitely a unique one here with the $30 that you're paying for this. Now the new PAT McGrath definitely has better pigmentation than the Midnight Sun palette, which came out last month. And I'm not saying that, with a cheaper palette like Stila, you're going to get better quality. I'm just saying that it's something to consider if you're just looking for a holiday palette and you don't want to spend that much money. It would be fun to go even further and compare it with the Makeup Revolution popcorn palette that also came out this month, and see really what if these purples are really as bad as they should be for that $15 that you're paying for this. I mean, this palette is $15, and compare it side by side with the Stila palette and the PAT McGrath. Sure, these colors may not be duochrome, but the pigment is definitely still there with some of the colors. And it's not a total ripoff. If you're interested in just having, some fun, look at that blue, for example. Having some blue colors in there, and some unique shades. Now, when you think of a popcorn palette, these colors really don't come to mind when you think about popcorn. But they've definitely tried to incorporate some new colors, like they have olive. So it's a sweet. So if I showed you these swatches and asked you which side was more expensive, and 10 times more expensive, would you be able to tell? The Stila Blue Round palette. And I was surprised to see for $15 what kind of quality you can get versus, you know, a palette that like Pat McGrath, like each shade would probably cost you around $20. But you know, the nice thing about this Pat McGrath Astral Blitz palette is that I have to say is that there's some duochrome shades in there that that you really don't see anywhere else, and that is what's really unique to the Pat McGrath formula. But the purple, you know, the purple didn't really wow me. It was mostly the green, which had a duochrome shift to it. It shifted from green to purple, but the dark purple didn't really do much for me, and the light blue was fine. I mean, it had some reflectiveness as well as the gold, but the standout here was definitely the green that is definitely appropriate for the month of October and Halloween. Now the Stila palette, I thought it was unique in its own way for $30. I thought let's go a little bit further and compare this with the Ulta palette, which probably costs way less than $5 when you compare it with how much you're getting. Like the whole set was probably like 12 or 15, and so each shade at this point is probably like worth less than a few cents. But I thought it'd be interesting to do some swatches with this one and you know, compare it side by side with all these expensive palettes that you know, are coming out at the same time. What I'm really trying to get you guys to see is that despite all these releases that makeup companies come up with every day, when you compare a very expensive palette, luxury palette, to one that may not be as expensive, sometimes the quality does not you know, correspond with the price. And if you compare a very expensive palette, in this case the Pat McGrath, with you know, something as dirt cheap as this Ulta palette, the holiday palette, you know, the difference is definitely still there, but it's not as much as the price could be. You know, in this case I came in to compare a luxury palette like Pat McGrath with duochrome, and I wanted to see in this case for example the Norvina palette. That was half the price of the Pat McGrath palette. And when I compared the purples for you guys, the Norvina came out on top. Now in this case, when you compare the purples with, let's say, an Ulta palette or Makeup Revolution palette, there's some differences, but the differences are not as huge. And so really you feel disappointed when they, you know, get products like this for someone thinking that it's not going to be as great quality, or you know, the work is going to be much more insignificant. Because in reality, you know, for example, these Norvina Pro palettes that came out, they are definitely very good as far as pigmentation. And I can say out of the three, my favorite is probably the third one, which is included in this month's giveaway. And the shimmer colors are definitely what attracts me the most about these palettes, is that they're not just a full-on matte palette. But the big problem with them, and I don't know if other people have said or not, is that the neon colors do stain your eyes, and they are not safe in general for the eye area. Now, I've heard some YouTubers say that, oh, well, at least they're okay in Europe, but eye conditions are a serious issue, guys, and I hope that you're being safe with this makeup in general, whether it's neon or pigmented, like the Huda Beauty palette, which they had to change the verbiage on it to say it's not intended for the eye. It is an eyeshadow palette, so please be sure that you're being safe with these palettes, because makeup companies won't tell you when they're not being safe. I really wanted to find some dupes for you guys in some cheaper palettes, and you know, while we didn't find the exact dupe, I definitely found some interesting shades in the Makeup Revolution coffee palette and the ice cream palette. as well as some interesting shades in the Ulta palette and the Stila palette. Anyway, I'd like to continue this conversation about new eyeshadow palettes in a future video with you guys. There's so many exciting releases that we need to get to the bottom of, if they're really worth it or not. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you guys thought, and as always, make sure you're subscribed to be entered in monthly giveaways automatically. As always, thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys next time.